Hello there. In this video, I'm going to be going over how to do some more work with widgets in Flutter. Specifically, we'll be looking at forms today, how to fill out some forms, how to create a form, and so on. So first off, I've loaded up just a fresh new project, no changes or anything like that. And I'm going to start by doing the first thing that I pretty much always do when I open one of these projects, which is delete all the comments I don't need. These are just cluttering up space, and at this point, I kind of know what things are, so I don't really need to have any of these comments sitting around. Maybe I'll add some in later down the line, probably in class actually, because I feel like that's the best place to be very verbose about things. But I think for now we're just going to clear out all of the comments. We're also going to clear out the the stuff in the starter app, so we don't need the function. We don't need a counter. More comments can go away. We're just going to clear everything in the body, I believe. Yeah. So where does the body go up till? I should say right center. Where is center? Center goes up to here. Sure, get out of here. And we don't need a floating action button either. That can go away. And for now, we'll just leave the body as a container. And let's reset this. Let's get rid of some more comments, I suppose. Comments. Okay, everything nice and clean. We don't want really anything in here. And let's rename this so that we can distinguish it from Flutter Demo. So this is going to be a registration form demo. So we're going to make our own little registration form. That's pretty much, I think, going to be the main widget we have here. Now, I think what I'm going to do actually here is I'm going to have a container that has some padding in it, and we'll try removing the padding later just to see what effect this has, but just to make things look nice and pretty, we're going to have a little bit of white space on the edge of things. Why are you mad? This is constant, right? Yeah. And the child of this is going to be a registration form. And this is going to be an error because it doesn't exist yet, but we're going to make one. And the way we're going to make one is by making a new file in our library. It's going to be a Dart file. We're going to call it a registration form. .dart. Can I do not just this? Will it do .dart? Yeah, there we go, by default. I have to write .dart every time. Any file in Dart you ever make, always just start with the same line every time, unless you're a Cupertino fan, in which case you can put Cupertino instead of material, but as an avowed Android user, I'll stick with my favorite. And we're going to make a new class here. Now, I could write all of this class out, and you could too, but let's both save ourselves lots of time by writing a few letters first. ST, oh, they can just do ST and I'm already there. We're going to be making a stateful widget, and so what that means is that a registration form obviously is going to need to use data. It's something that is not going to be static. As people enter data into your form, you want to actually use that information, change the app, either show things, modify things, or so on. So that means we're not looking for a stateless widget, we're looking for a stateful widget. So let's make a stateful widget rather than typing it all out. Android Studio, in this case, will just let me click on this little thing, boop, and suddenly tons of code is here. And we're going to go through all of this bit by bit, but we're going to call this a registration form. And now, fortunately, all of this writing has been done for me now, so the registration form constructor is already here. Registration form state is already here, which is part of the stateful widget. There is a method to build that. Right now, it's just an empty container. We're going to replace this, obviously. But I believe that everything up here is going to stay as is. Note that there's something that we're going to talk a bit about today, which is a key. So the key here is something that we need so that when we make changes to the form, when we modify information, the form needs to actually be able to put that somewhere. And so this key is kind of like a unique identifier. I think there's actually a description for if I mouse over maybe. Yeah, it's an identifier for widgets, elements, and so on. And so a new widget is only used to update an existing element if its key is the same as the key of the current widget. In other words, you want to make sure that the key you have for your form matches the key of your registration form state. So we're going to be building in here our registration form, which is actually a type of form. And in here, error because I'm missing lots of stuff. In here, one of the things it needs to have is a key, and the key that I'm going to be using is going to need to be the same one that belongs to the state. So I actually have to add a line of code up at the top here, which is going to be a form key, which is global key. Yep. And now I don't know if I have to type this. I might not. Let's try not typing it for now, and if I have to type it later, I will. But for now, we'll not bother with the little triangle brackets. We'll just see if this lets us go ahead. If I have to add it in, I'll add it in. But and I'll add it in later if I need to be more verbose, perhaps. Okay, so my form is complaining because it doesn't have a child and it needs to have one. I'll put it in an empty child for now, just because I want to have the minimum code for this to work. But later down the line, it is actually going to be a column. Now I think this is everything I need. So I'm going to build a registration form in my main function. So I got to go back there, write in the proper thing, and import it. There we go. Now what? Prefer a constant. Is this? I guess this can be constant. We'll see if this complains to me later down the line. Right now, it makes sense for it to be constant because nothing is going. It can actually change at the moment, but this might be. It might get mad at me later, so I'm actually going to leave it off for now. I do want to rebuild this. Okay, registration form. Nothing should show up, so no real surprises there. So let's start digging into what can go into our form. Now, I'm actually, maybe for the first little bit, going to see what happens if I don't put in the key, and then we can maybe add it in later just to see what effect it actually has on our form. But I think that a lot of our form is going to be broken until we put that in. But, let's experiment a little bit with things first. I'll also worry about alignment and that kind of thing later. For now, I'm just going to get the bare bones of what I need to get stuff working. So my column needs to have some children, and I think we're going to start with the most basic type of form field, which is text. So one of them is going to be a text form field. And so a text form field, does this have like a picture or anything like that? No, I'm not so lucky. It's literally just a place that you can put in some text. So again, can I build this already? Will it let me do that? I think it will, but I won't. Oh yeah, okay. And then over here, I can actually click on it. My keyboard will type up, and I can be like, hi. You can see lots of debugging stuff is going in down here as I'm using my keyboard. And that's just all like keyboard information. All that's me typing in letters. Can delete everything here. I think I can type in through my keyboard, maybe. Hi. Yeah, okay, I can do that too. Nice to save me some time. Anyway, let's see how much I can put in order to get things working. So first off, this looks kind of ugly, right? It's just a straight line. I wouldn't even know to click on this really. So let's give this a little bit more oomph by putting in some decoration. So we're going to do decoration. In this case, is going to be an input decoration. This is a specific thing for a text field. So we're going to make it have, a label, a sample input for that example. I think you can put in a border as well, maybe. I don't really know what the border format is though, so I'll probably leave that off for now. Again, we'll just stick with the stuff we need. Also, this can be a constant. So let's label this so people know what they're supposed to put in here. Let's say this is going to be for their email. It's a registration form, right? Hold up. I think this has to be a text widget. Okay, so I think this might have to be a text widget that says email. Let's give that a shot. My dog is very mad at the door right now. Okay, so I think this looks like it worked. So I can see over here, it's like very faint. Maybe I can make the size of this a little bigger. Text scale factor, like 3. There we go. So now, this is where my email is going to go. And type in my email. Oh, it looks hideous. I think it's because the text scale factor is probably not what I should be using for this. What happens if I don't have this and I just deal with the fact that my text is very small? So there we go. This is like more, I guess, of what you would expect, where the little email label goes at the top, and then I can type in my text. Hi there. There might be actually a font setting I can do in here, possibly. Let's see. There's a style, so maybe I can do that. Style, text style, font size. Give me like a 20. Just so it's not so tiny, right? Oh, see, that's a little better. Let's jack it up. Give me a 40. Nice and chunky. Oh, here we go. See, now you can actually see things. Yeah, my email, for instance. Okay, well, right now, if I don't type anything in there and I like rebuild this, then it just says email, but there's no sample. Like I click on it, and what if I'm a person who's from the 1900s? I don't know what an email looks like. It's always good to have sample input. So the hint text is a sample idea. I think this might also need to be a widget. No, this can be a string. It's very inconsistent here. Someone at email.com, Now when I click on this, somewhere on email this font size may be a little too big. Let's pull it back to 30 perhaps, so we can actually fit an email in there. There we go. Now you can see the sample text actually shows up when I click on this. This is one of my big gripes, I think, about some of the things that Flutter does. You can see here the label, I guess, can be anything. Presumably I can put in like a picture or something. But the hint text can only be a string, and it's like kind of inconsistent here in that apparently I can't have like an image as the sample. Yeah, kind of annoying, but nothing I can really do about that. Anyway, so right now I now have a place that I can type in stuff, but nothing actually happens with it, right? That's not very interesting. So a text form field has a couple of important parameters that you need to handle, and in this case the one that we're looking for is onsaved. So this is basically a method that gets called when something tries to go and save everything in your field. Now most of the time you're going to have more than just email, right? You're going to have email, the name, and so on and so forth. And when all of those are filled in, you usually hit like a submit button, right? And when you hit the submit button, it needs to check that all of your input is valid first, and I'll do the validation, I think, after. And then assuming everything is valid, then it saves all the information and does whatever you want with it. So in this case, onSave should be a function, and I think we're going to, again, keep this kind of simple just for the moment. So onSave, there's obviously going to be a string in here. And then what I do with that is, I guess just to keep things simple, let's just print it out. Saving email, or value, sorry. Why are you mad? Avoid print calls in production code. Well, I'm demoing stuff. This isn't production. Okay, now I need to actually be able to save this stuff. And so we'll get a button for that. And the button is going to be part of my column. So the column's children go here. So after my text form field, I'm going to have an elevated button. And you can see this also has two necessary parameters. One of them is what happens when you press the button. This is the function. And the other is what is the text of the button. Or I guess in general, what appears on the button. You could have a picture on it if you really want to. We're going to keep it simple. This is just going to be text that says, register. And on pressed here is going to be a function. No parameters, of course, because when you click a button, there's nothing to actually do with it. However, okay, I guess this is where the key kind of comes in. Maybe it doesn't. Let's see. I think it might though. We'll find out. But I'm pretty sure this is where the key is going to start to become relevant, because the idea is that clicking this button is what we want to link to the text form field. And right now we don't actually have a connection between this button and this text form. So I think if I do this, what's likely to happen is, and this is going to attempt to register. Pardon poor Cheeto. He's very upset at the neighbors. Yeah, it's okay. He's all right. He's just having a tough day. Okay, attempting to register when we're printing, and maybe I'll pause until he's done. 1 second. Okay, sorry about that. I think he has finally chilled out, and I can continue to record without more disruption. Fingers crossed. Okay, we were trying to get this button to do something. So right now, when I click the button, it should just print attempting to register. Maybe before we even do anything else, let's just make sure our button shows up and does what we want. Hey, look at that. There's a button. When I click on it, attempting to register. Good stuff. Okay, so we're onto a good start. Now we want to actually take the information from the form and do stuff with it. This is kind of the key part, right? So right now, we need to be able to save the information. So we have this onSave function here. We want to call it so that in here we can print saving email value. Obviously, the print here is not something you would do if you were making a real app. You would use this data in some sense or form. Maybe you would call some other function elsewhere. We just want to get this to work. So for now, what we're going to try to do is we're going to try to save things. So the way we'll do that is we're going to take our form key that belongs to our current state. We are going to take the current state, and we're going to try to save. Okay, I think this is mad because the receiver could be null, so that's the current state. So to make sure that it's not, to promise, don't worry, it's not null, we're going to throw a little exclamation mark in there. Is that not acceptable? The method saved isn't defined for the type state. So I think this is the part that has to do with me not defining the type up here. So I just said global key, but I think this global key actually needs to be a form state. Capital F, form state. See, now the errors have corrected, and you can see why this is now necessary, is so that this key is identified as something that belongs to a form. So when I try to save it, it will look at what is in the form and then try to register that information. Now, I still haven't actually said that the form contains the key, and that's, I think, actually the first parameter here. Yeah, there's a key that's supposed to go in here. So here's like all this linkage coming together. You have the key declared up here. It is supposed to be part of this form, and that way when you take that form and try to save what's in it, it will go here, it'll run the onSaved method of all of the fields you have, and then do stuff with it. Now I think this should fail, so let's just see if that's the case. I'm pretty confident though. I may need to increase the terminal size a little bit here. Actually, no, I can probably leave it as 3. And then, okay, so if you see this, it worked. We're going to try to register. Okay, so I think it looks like an error to me. Null check operator used on a null value, and I believe that the null value we're looking at here is the key, because right now the form does not have a key. So we're attempting to gather data from the form, but the form doesn't have a key, so we don't actually know how to get this information, which is what I expected. So we're going to clear this for the moment, and we're going to add the key to the form. So key, form key. So now this key goes here, and it is called by our little button, which should try to save the information from the form, which should call this function and print saving email of our value. So we're going to compile that. Good stuff. If you see this, it worked. Register. And look at that. Attempting to register, saving email. If you see this, it worked. Good stuff. Okay, so that's our first part. So just getting the basic functionality here. Now we're going to expand things out a little bit. I think maybe the first thing that we'll do is, and we'll worry about the aesthetics last, I think. Aesthetics probably should be the the last thing you worry about. Orientation matters a lot, like making everything into a column is something I had to do at the start. But in terms of like axis alignments and font sizes and stuff, you usually can leave that for later. I only changed the font size here because you literally couldn't see the word email unless you have a nice little magnifying glass to look through. Okay, let us do another text form field for fun. I'm just going to copy it completely and change a few things. So let's change this to be a password. And here's a neat little trick, which is that sometimes when you are asking them to fill in text fields, you don't want people to see what they're filling in, like a password, because that's bad. So there's something you can add here called obscure text, which I can set to be true, and that when you're typing in your password, people can't see you typing in the password, because that's probably not good security. Label text, we don't need a hint text for password, because that's really silly. We do need the label that says password. Obscure text, we got our style, and this is going to be saving a password. Let's give this a shot. Okay, so I got my email, hi@hello.com, I got my password, top secret password, and let's register. Now, did that go? Maybe I didn't click it properly. Click. What's happening? Oh, there we go. Attempting to register, saving email, hi, hello, saving password, top secret password, recommendation, don't save your passwords in plain text. But you know, that's, again, outside the scope, I think, of this course. Maybe you can talk to a security expert about that, which I am not. All right. So that was a good, you know, obscure text example. Let's try a different kind of field. So we got our elevated button. No, above the elevated button, we're going to have a drop-down button form field. Wow, that is a combination of words. The drop-down button form field, you'll take a look, I guess, actually, after you see what's in it. We're going to keep it simple first, and then we're going to start to add some features to it so you can see how things change over time. But I believe that, so I think the items in here gets a little complicated. Is that right? Yeah, for now, we're going to just leave... Okay, so you can actually see if you look really... I don't know how big the text is for your eyes looking at the video, but highlighted here is a list of drop-down menu items. And a drop-down menu item can be of various types. So in this case, probably strings, if you're going to pick from some words. And so the idea is what we need to do is for each thing, in this case for each word that we have, we want to take each of those words and build a drop-down menu item object per word. And so if you remember from last class, there's a handy little method that's going to do this, which is called map. So before I get to onChanged, which I will handle after, let's get this one going. Starting off, so we're going to do strings. So a string, and it's going to be, let's say we want to pick the country, and you can pick either Canada, or you can pick USA, or you can pick Mars, because why not? For each of these, we're going to map them, and we're going to map each one for a drop-down menu item. Hold up. No, I don't want to construct a drop-down menu. I don't want to specify that this map is going to map two drop-down menu items, each of which is of the type string. This is like a horrific-looking piece of code. Let me space some things out so you can read what the heck I'm doing. Okay, we're going to take items down a line. So, each of these we're going to map to drop-down menu items that contain strings. And to do this, we need to use a function to map each of these strings to a drop-down menu item. Not too complicated how we're going to do that. We are going to use a function that takes the string value. I think this question mark is mandatory. I'm not actually sure. I had it in my code, but you might be able to get away without it. Why is this angry? Expected to find... am I missing a triangular bracket? It's possible. You know what? I think actually it's just looking for the constructor, in which case I do want to have this and this. Don't worry, this line of code looks horrible right now, but I think we're going to fix it in time. Let me see here. Oh, we need to take this. Okay, hold up. One step at a time here. We got our strings. Here are our strings. We need to map our strings to drop-down menu items. Given each string, we want a drop-down menu item. So we're going to return one. Drop-down menu item of the specific type string. I'm keeping my types here like really specific just because I want to be very, very clear about what should go in here. You can probably get away without putting all these strings and drop-down menu item specifiers in here, but I want to be very, very like clean about it. Okay, so I can actually probably put the dot map on another line too. Makes it a little nicer. Okay, dot string. The child of each drop-down menu item is going to just be text that says the value. Actually, just put in the value. It's possible all these exclamation marks are null things. Can't be assigned to a type dynamic. Okay, well I just won't make it a string then. It should be fine, right? Also, same thing. Now are you mad? Ah, okay, I know why this one is happening. So before I was angry because I had string and it's looking for dynamic, so it was just not accepting it, which is kind of annoying, but whatever. And now it's upset because it's trying to map iterable to list. I know how to fix that one. That one I can fix with dot to list. Haha, suddenly a lot of my errors are gone. But there are still some left. First off, this one is a semicolon missing. Now, I think I can get away with this, and then I'll add a bit more after. Unchanged is missing a function. It should have one, but I'm going to do that later. No, is that not okay? I have to have something. Function. Oh, it has to have a parameter. Sure. Why are you mad now? Couldn't infer parameter type T. Well, that's not nice. For parameter type T, but where's that coming from? That might be the case of... Some really weird stuff going on with this one. Hopefully it'll be a little cleaner when I do it in class. Oh no, it's this function again. Why is this function so mad at me? Let's take a string. I probably need to give it a name, value, and let's print the value. Now, why are you mad? Just value and print it. Okay, but now this thing is angry. And I think this thing might be angry maybe because of this. No, that's not it. What if I do this and this? No, that fixed nothing. It's a very curious error here. Okay, couldn't infer in parameter type T. Parameter onChanged is declared as a void function, but the argument is an object. Consider it passing explicit arguments to the generic. Okay. So what happens if I put all my string things back? Will it get angry again? If I put this string here, it seems okay. If I put this string here, it seems okay. Yeah. And if I put this... Oh, is it happy now? Are we finally good? See, it's really weird sometimes how Flutter will just, like, it'll be okay about not putting in variable names sometimes, and other times it just says, heck no. No, there is a missing parentheses here, which should go here, I think. Okay, this was a heck of a widget to build, wasn't it? Okay, here's our form field. The things in it are going to be a list of strings, each of which is mapped to a drop-down menu item. So that way, I actually have a menu items in my drop-down button to pick from. Each one's going to have text. The text is just going to be the value of the string. I don't need this exclamation mark. And I need to, because I'm using the map function. Am I using the map? Yeah, I'm using map. Map converts things to an iterable, but I need to convert that back to a list in order to actually use it. And when I change the what I click with the button, it's going to print it out so I can see that this is working. So let's try that out. Oh no, what happened? I can't even read the error message because it's like blocked in by construction lines. Okay, I overflowed by a lot. That's not great. Widget items where drop-down menu item value. Okay. So the problem here is I missed a thing that I need to add to my drop-down menu items, which is that they need to have values, and I didn't give them values, which was bad of me. So we're going to give them values. So the value is going to be their value. Because otherwise, when I try to do onChange, it's looking for this value and it doesn't exist. Maybe I should rename some of these. I have value like everywhere. So this is this string is, I guess all the values are the same thing though, right? They're just the names of the countries. Yeah. Okay. Well, try it again. Aha. So my email, got my password, and I got this thing here. I can click, and look at that. I got some options. I can pick from USA, Mars, or Canada. Canada, why not? Let's go back down. Look at that, Canada. How about I pick Mars? Hooray, Mars, and so on. Nice. A nice drop-down menu item. I think I can give this style too, if I'm not mistaken. Styles? Yeah, text style. So again, I can make it a little bigger. Text style. Style. Text style. I'll just copy the other one, actually. I want people to be able to see what I'm doing. There we go. Constant. Yes, I know. Is this loading? Is it really slow? Or is it that the font is so big that it can't click? Okay, well that's not great. Oh, I think because I put in text style, it defaults the text color to white. So let's not do that. Colors.black. I think that's what happened. Let's find out. Yeah. It's defaulted it to the white color, and that's why it disappeared. But it wasn't actually disappearing; it was just hidden. So Canada, so on. It appears down there. So everything is working a-okay as desired. Great. Let us expand a bit more. I think so. We have all the core content for our form, right? We can put in an email, password, and pick a thing here. We should also do an onsaved for our drop-down button form field. So let's see here. What is this? This is onChanged. So shall I come after this, and then I can do onSaved. And onSaved, I have a value, and I can save the country as the value. So again, let's save things. This is my email, my password, and we're going to Mars. What a great country, Mars. When I register, click. Saving email, password, country, Mars. Nice. Okay. Let us... Okay, so go back to the top. See what I have not included that I want to include. Let's start off with making things look a little nicer. Now, I had put in padding over here. Did that actually do anything? Let's find out. A little bit, but a very insignificant amount of padding. I don't think it matters too much, but it is nice to have a little bit of it because this is something that I guess you wouldn't notice from the emulator. The edges of your phone are very hard sometimes to click on properly. So it generally is a good idea not to have things stretched all the way out to the edge of the page. Maybe I can get away with edging, with padding of 20. I think that might be a little nicer. Canada, yeah. Yeah, okay. I guess this can be constant. I don't think that seems to be causing anything to explode. Anyway, okay, so now my registration form. Let's do cross-axis alignment. Why not? From the column. Cross-axis alignment. Let's try centering and see what that changes. It doesn't look like it changed very much. What if I do end? Yes, where do I want that button, basically? So I think I want the button at the start. So I'm going to put it at the start. This is kind of where you expect things to be, right? I guess center is okay. It's not the end of the world. Like, I'm just trying to think of, like, naturally, if you were filling in a form, what would things look like? And I guess a centered button is all right. Start might make a little more sense potentially, so let's leave this button on the left side. But again, you'll notice that because we're working with a column here, cross-axis alignment is only going to affect the horizontal alignment of items in the column, and importantly, it's only going to affect the alignment, the position of anything that's smaller than the largest item. And so since the text fields and the drop-down button all span the entire column, the only thing that's affected by cross-axis alignment is the little tiny register button, which is honestly too tiny. I should make it bigger. Let's do that. I guess it's button style, probably. Let's change the style. So we have our unpressed, we have our child style, button style. It's probably going to be a constant. I guess size. The side, weird. Maximum size and minimum size, interesting. Let's see if I change these things. Minimum size, 30. Not looking for that size, is it? What is it looking for? A material state property. This is getting very complicated. I don't actually have to resize this button for my demo, but maybe I'll try it. Material state property. Okay, so I can't use that. That's an abstract class. That's no bueno. There's got to be another way I can just make this box bigger, you know? Oh, how about maybe if I make the text bigger? So if I do text style is text style font. Why are you mad? Material state property text style. Try using a subtype. You know, I don't know what the subtype is for maybe it's like text style dot. No, that's not it. Shall I resort to Googling? I've yet to do so in these videos, but perhaps I will. I do really want to know how to make this a bigger button. I feel like it seems reasonable of a question. Throw material state property, which means that actually, no, you know what? Here's another idea. What if I leave the style the same, but I make the text itself bigger? Will the button resize itself around the text to make it so it's a big button? I think the answer is yes. So I'm actually going to try that. So we're going to set the style of this to be a text style, which has a font size of 30 to make it nice and chunky. And we're going to cut out the style here. And we're going to see if this automatically resizes the button because the text is bigger. Haha, I feel kind of clever. I guess that's fine. It does seem kind of weird that it's like, that it didn't seem to resize itself vertically. What if I change the, what was the other parameter for this? It was text scale factor. Let's try changing that. Text scale factor of 2, just for fun. Oh, look at that big chunky button. It does seem kind of weird that this is it looks almost like it's cut off, kind of, but I guess it's how it's supposed to be. Yeah, okay, well, big buttons. I like big buttons. They're fun to press. We're just going to leave this as is, and you can probably tweak around with some of these features. Tweak some of the features however you like. Okay, but anyway, let's go back to, importantly, getting some of the rest of the functionality here. So we've done some alignment of our button. What we have not done yet is actually verify that any of the data we put in here makes any sense, because I can write any old nonsense in here and it will let me save that as my email. So that's not great. We probably want to have our email actually be valid. So we're going to put in validators for all of our text form fields. So we have onsaved, and in addition to onsaved, we have validator. And a validator is just going to be a function that is either going to return null if everything is a-okay, and if things are not okay, then it's going to print out a message. Or it's going to return a message, I should say. So I think it says that in validator, probably. When a controller is specified, initial value must be null. Okay, it doesn't really say that, but that's how it works, so trust me. Function. We're going to make a function. It needs to start with a value, which is the whatever text you have in the field, and then we're going to be validating email or value. And then if the, let's say, we'll accept any email as long as it's not empty, just for fun. So value is not empty, or sorry, is empty. That would be bad. We don't want it to be empty. And this is mad because receiver could be null, so we're going to promise, don't worry, value's got something in it. And we'll say email must not be empty. Otherwise, everything is okay. So let's try this again. We're going to put in a empty email, and it will be mad at us. So I'm going to put in a password even. So my password and a country, USA, and register. So it looks like it didn't didn't do this properly. Oh, the reason is, the very obvious reason, my button doesn't validate anything. So I probably should make sure my button validates stuff. Okay, so let's have it do that. Right now it always saves, but instead what we're going to do is we're going to say if, and then we're going to do form key. Yeah, it was autofilling correctly. There we go. Current state validate. So if we validate and all is well, and maybe this method tells us that, yes, returns true if there are no errors, and the error occurs if any text is returned. If anything is returned from my validators other than null, then that means there's a problem. So assuming there isn't an error, then I will save. And we'll say, print validation okay. Otherwise, we'll say, whoops, not what I wanted to do. Validation failed. Let's see if I can auto-format this a little bit, because this is looking kind of messy. Auto-indent. That did not do anything. What if I do that? Nope, literally can't figure it out. Oh well, it's fine. Okay, let's try this out. So now we have a button that's actually going to validate if our input is correct. So I'm going to put in my password. I'm going to enter a country, Canada, register. Aha. So we attempted to register. It tries to validate the email. The validation failed. And the reason the validation failed is because I must not have an empty email. I don't think this message actually got printed, but it got sent somewhere, probably to this validate function, which then said, oh, not okay. So we're not going to process things. And actually, it looks like our error message appears over here. Email, does it say that? It's like so hard to read. It's so small. It looks like it says email must not be empty, but to be extra sure, Can I change this font, this text here, because it's really tiny? No, I may have to do something a little wackier if I want to increase the size of this error message here. But you trust me, even if you your magnifying glass isn't with you, it says the email must not be empty, which is the message I put here. Okay, let's do validators for other things. So let's say for our password, so we're going to copy the validator again. Whoop. Validator. Password. So validator. We're validating our password this time. The condition for this one, let's say the length must be greater than. Let's get real secure. I guess 8 is fine. Probably should be better, but we'll just say password too short. 8 plus characters. Same password. Let's try it again. So my email with the spelling error for fun. My password is going to be 1234, the most secure of passwords, and Canada. Register. So apparently that passed. I'm not sure why. Oh, sorry, it should be less than 7. That's why. Oops, wrong direction. There we go. So my email, password is 1234, Canada, register. Oh, there's an error, look at that. I think if I scroll down, I see it. Validating the email, my email, validating the password, validation failed. And it says here the password is too short, 8 plus characters. And then I don't think, do we need a validator for this? I guess we'll just have is not null, right? Is a probably good validator to have. So validator again. Validating country. Null. Choose a country. Okay, let's try that one. So we got my email. Password's gonna be 12345678. So we got 8 characters, and we try to register. Oh no, I can't. Validation failed because I have to pick a country. Look at that. There we go. Okay, anything else I want to add? Ah, yes. So right now, it's kind of annoying that all of our messages are appearing either in here or over here in little tiny text. There might be one other place that you want to show things, and that is using a snack bar. So we're going to put in a snack bar just to show some stuff off. And I think we'll do that when we save things successfully. And so for this, there's a few methods we have to call in order to reach our little snack bar destination. So first off, we need to go to Scaffold Messenger. So Scaffold Messenger is your API so that you can show little pop-ups, which is what we want to do. So and of here is basically something that you need to put in essentially to connect what's in the message that you want to show in your snack bar to the code that's actually here. So scaffold messenger dot of parentheses context dot show snack bar, because I want to do that. You need to make one, and the snack bar is a very simple thing. It just takes content, which in this case is going to be text, and the text here is going to say registered user and semicolon at the end. And this is mad because it wants a constant. So sure, why not? This is mad because it also wants a constant. There we go. Let's do dots on the next line. All right, and let's verify this works. Okay, so got my email, I'm just purposefully misspelling email every time for no particular reason. Canada. Okay, so valid. Register. Look at that. Registered user right at the bottom. And this little pop-up is going to go away after a few seconds, and then it's gone. So anytime you want those little kind of notification things, snack bar. Not too complicated to use. Anytime that you want to pop up, you just put this code in, replace the text with whatever you want to have in it, and that will appear for a short amount of time and then disappear. I think you can set the duration in here. Possibly, yeah, snack bar display duration, so you can decide how long you want it to be there for, any other kinds of settings, background color, so on and so forth. You can modify as you like, but for now, I think this is going to be the end of this video. Anything else I wanted to do? No, I think I'm happy with this, actually. So I will be going over this again in class. I'll probably add some comments and documentation to it. Get rid of more of those constant annoying warnings. Maybe I can make the code a little neater. We'll see how things go in class. But this is pretty much all of it for today. So thanks for watching, and I will see you guys in class.